We interrupt this transmission to bring you the following live broadcast.
It's Wednesday. It's 6 o'clock somewhere. With Karina ready in her chair. And almost 10 whole people watching from home. Are you ready? I said, are you ready? It's time for the ThinkSoJoE Show!
Hello, welcome to the ThinkSoJoE Show. That intro is what Brian was doing his little dance to in the in memoriam thing we did at the start of the show. This is not gonna be your typical episode of the ThinkSoJoE Show. We'll still try and have a little fun in remembering Brian, but I know maybe some of you probably are here for the very first time because you saw that we're gonna pay tribute to your friend, our friend, Brian Muller, who passed away suddenly on Monday. And geez, now you got me doing it. And I want to let you know that there's going to be like little pop-up ads come up on the screen. We do them every week. They come up, they say, go to this link for ThinkSoJoE Show merch, and go to this link for, if you want to donate to the show. And I want to tell you that all donations we get at tips.thinksojoe.com, and I'll send these through in the chat as well. Tips.thinksojoe.com. Any donations we get, those are going to go straight to Brian's final wish of being having his ashes pressed into a vinyl record, because Brian. Also, if you go to merch.thinksojoe.com and you buy like literally anything in our shop, I don't make a lot off of those, maybe like $3 an item, but whatever we make on the shop between now and the end of next week's show, whatever profits we get from that, I'm gonna match and put towards Brian's. We're gonna have a GoFundMe. Yeah. So you don't feel obligated to tip us or donate to buy anything from us today or over the next week, because there is going to be a GoFundMe if you'd rather contribute directly to that. Right. But if you want to, like I said, if you want to buy merch, we will. I'll match whatever profits I get and put that towards it. I will also take any donations, tips over the next week until the end of next week's show, and we're going to put that towards it. Also, we're looking forward to being able to set up this GoFundMe and get make this happen for Brian to get his ashes pressed into a vinyl record. I was talking to his childhood best friend on Monday. Yeah. And we're talking about Brian's love of the wrestler Bret Hart, and which I have an autographed picture of Bret Hart around here somewhere. I gotta find that, and I don't know, maybe I don't know what the hell to do with it. I don't know. I'll have it buried, but he's not getting buried. So, right. We're talking about Brian's love of the wrestler Bret Hart, and how we're, me and his best friend Chris were Shawn Michaels fans, and we're kind of like, we always gave him shit because we're like, Shawn Michaels is so much better than Bret Hart. So we're talking about that, and we both, I said to him, I said, it's cool that he wants to be pressed into a vinyl record. Got to frame it, I guess. Yeah, that's what I got to do with that Bret Hart picture, I guess. Put it up on the wall. And I said, man, I told my partner earlier, I said, I don't want to be pressed into a vinyl record. I just want to be made into a tree. And he goes, dude, are we the same person? Because that's me. So we're the type of people Brian hangs out with, I guess. Or hung out with, I guess, is, but yeah, I'm gonna share those, share the merch and donation links for the show in the chat. I don't have the GoFundMe information yet. When I do, as soon as I do, We'll put it out on all the social media, the ThinkSoJoE Show Twitter, my personal Twitter, my Facebook, the ThinkSoJoE Show Facebook, Living Brain Dead Facebook, all that. So we'll make sure you guys know. We'll make it because we definitely want to hit that goal and make that happen for them. I actually have some footage that I want to share throughout the course of the show.
Yeah.
And when I met Brian, I was doing a show that used to be in the same time slot on all WNY. And I don't really like to go back to that show a lot. I mention it from time to time if there's something relevant, but I don't like to go back and like watch episodes or anything like that. But I got the call on Monday. I was sitting here. I was just laying in bed. I didn't even get out of bed yet. And I'm sitting there with my phone in my hand, and I found out that, we had a meeting on Thursday before Brian went in for surgery without Brian, but, we recorded it for him to watch later and give his input and all that. So I'm messaging the guys because I had just found out the answer to a question, which was, yes, we did register to play Music is Art this year. And we're honestly really hoping to be able to.
Right.
And we'll get to that in a little bit, but I'm sitting in bed, hadn't gotten out of bed. It's like 3:00 in the afternoon. I'm just sitting there. I'm watching, Things You Might Not Know videos, which is my YouTube channel, but we're not here to promote that. But Brian did do the music for that channel, and we're going to probably try and pay tribute to him on Monday's episode. So I'm sitting there watching all these, Things You Might Not Know episodes. I'm literally phone in hand about to message the band, hey guys, they did get our application. We did apply for Music is Art. But before I could even start typing, my phone rings, and it's Karina, and Karina never calls me. Never. Texts, all the like Facebook messages is how we communicate, even when we're in the same house. But she calls me, and that's weird. Okay, what's going on? I answer the phone, and I get the information that Brian is in an ambulance on his way to the hospital. Yeah. And my first reaction was, am I allowed to go?
Right.
Because for the past year, it's been you really can't go visit people in the hospital or anything. So I was like, can I go? Is that something I can do? And you just said, go. And so I set my phone down, and I got dressed right away, and I get to the door, and I saw I had a missed call from you, and then I was trying to, about to call you back, and it's you can't make a phone call right now because another phone call is coming in. It was you, and I answered the phone, and you just said, he's gone. I said, what do I do? Do I still go anyway? And I went, and I sat with his partner, Lily, sat at his bedside, and, we just kind of, she kind of explained to me how the morning went, that they did everything they possibly could to save him.
Yeah.
And just couldn't do it. And so I sat with her until she was ready to go, and we, she drove me home, and on the way home, we're both kind of this, I feel like I should feel a lot worse right now, both of us. Because, I don't think it's set in for either of us. And I got in the house, and I sat down. I walked in the door. I set my keys down. I sat right down on the couch. And we just got this couch 2 weeks ago from Brian. And I sat down on the couch, and that's when it all just, boom, hit me. And Brian's gone. And I just sat there. And I, grieved for a little while, and then I was waiting for Lily to post something on Facebook before I did. I didn't want to be the original source of the news, you know what I mean? And I think for a lot of people I was, because as soon as she posted, I was like, man, I met Brian on October 10th, 2012, and and we just hit it off, man. Next thing, I was looking for, I had a half stack Ibanez Tone Blaster, and I'm like, man, I'm trying to, get back out and play music again, but I really don't want to lug this thing around. And he says, well, I got a 212 combo for you and I'll trade you, like, straight up. He said, yeah, no problem. So he comes over, he brings this amp, looks at my amp, plugs it in, makes sure it works. Which, you know, later on, if I was like, yeah, I'll sell you some gear, he'd trust me. But he wanted to make sure we had just met like 2 days before. So, you know, he plugs in that amp, I plug in the amp he's given me. And he tells me, he says, you know, this was my first amp. And he says, I sold it. And then I found it at a thrift store. And I knew it was mine because my initials are carved in it. And I bought it. So if you ever decide to get rid of this amp, please let me know first. Yeah. And there's the merch. Again, if you guys buy merch, I'm matching whatever profits we make. I'm matching and putting towards whenever we get the GoFundMe up and running. So I still to this day have that amp in my basement. I've never used it for a show because I wasn't in a band for another 6 years. And when I was in a band with Brian and I already had like a modeler and all that shit. So like I used it at practice a couple of times because it was like, no, let's, you know, you need an amp and you need an actual amp. We can't keep going through this, you know, custom with a K PA system with your guitar. Like, okay, cool. So I had that at practice a few times before I got like a FR speaker, which actually is now owned by Brian, but because Brian was like, oh, you know, if you sell me your HX Stomp and your you know, Headrush speaker, you can probably buy a Helix LT and a, you know, power cab. I'm like, okay, let's do it. I need to upgrade. Sounds good. Let's do it. So, but that was my first experience with Brian, was having him on that show. We're going to play in a little bit a video from that show of him playing with the band with him playing in the band Scarlet Embrace. Yeah. Which one of the first few people to reach out to me was Jenny from Scarlet Embrace, and she was just like, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, I guess. It's funny because last Thursday I decided you weren't home, and I was like, I had nothing else to do, so I'm just like, you know, I'm gonna jump on Twitch. I'm gonna play some video games. Yeah. And literally, the second I was about to hit the button to go on Twitch, I get this Facebook message from a friend of mine in Tennessee, who never messages me. It's just, hey, did you hear Tracy died? And like, used to have like Tracy's the girl from Nashville that, you know, she liked me. We went and hung out in Columbus at a Blue Jackets game, and she came and hung out here one night, and I said, no, what? You're kidding. Like, how? She's only like 42, you know, like, and sure enough, she passed away. And I was we were at the Over and Out show, Over and Out on the Cinder Star Juice at Mohawk Place on Friday. And I'm standing outside and I'm talking to, you know, a few people. Ryan McEnany's one of them from Shambles. I'm talking to him and I'm saying, dude, you know, it just kind of came up in conversation. And I wasn't like super broken up about it. We weren't that close anymore for me to be like that upset. You know, like I'm sad that she died. Right. Yes. But it wasn't like, you know, we weren't talking every day or anything. It was just, you know, I still feel bad. The last thing I said to her was, wait, you just got your second COVID shot and you're already not wearing a mask at work. Like, you know, you got to wait 2 weeks. And her posting a passive aggressive, Facebook status about it, you know, and I'm just, you know, like, okay, hey, I'm just saying, you know, and that was the last time I interacted with her. So it's like, I mentioned, you know, I've been fortunate enough to not really lose anybody super close to me. Yeah. And then we went on to have a conversation about how Brian was getting feeling back in his fingers. Yeah. And that we were very, very optimistic he was going to be able to play guitar again. And then next thing I know, it's Monday, and I'm like texting Ryan, and I'm just like, well, he texted me because he saw my post, and I said, man, you remember like just Friday I was telling you, you know, I haven't lost anybody close to me. Well, this one really hurts. Right. And I'm just thinking about all the stuff in this house alone that has some sort of Brian influence, especially all that over there, the record collection, and like the couch in our living room is brand new. Well, not brand new. We got it from him. It's new to us. Because he was getting new furniture. He's like, you guys want a couch? Like, yeah, sure. And then I was mentioning how warm it was in my living room. He's like, oh, you guys need new AC, and I'll come over and I'll seal up the house so that none of the cold air is getting out. Next thing I know, I walk out to the living room. There's 2 brand new air conditioners. Brand new, never opened.
Yeah.
And so Sunday night, I'm talking to Brian. And he's like, oh, did you put the ACs in yet? I'm like, no, we haven't gotten a chance to yet. I don't want to do it myself because the last time I tried to do an air conditioner myself, it ended up on the concrete in my neighbor's driveway. And he says, oh, yeah, that's understandable. I said, yeah, we'll probably put them in like Monday when Karina comes home. Mm-hmm. And like he, made some kind of joke about me not putting it in. And I was like, oh, yeah, he's like, it's going to be another hot day tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I got that cup holder in my studio, in my booth. And that was like the last thing I ever said to him.
Yeah.
And, but we were joking. We used to do a segment when Brian was the co-host here, and it was called Joe Knows Jack.
Right.
Do you remember this? You used to listen?
Remember.
Okay. Do you want to explain what Joe Knows Jack was?
No.
Okay. So Joe Knows Jack was... I'm not a big movie guy. I don't watch a lot of movies. Brian loves movies. And so Brian would be like, oh, have you ever seen this movie? And he'd start talking about a movie on the show. And I'd be like, dude, I have no idea what you're talking about. And he'd be like, really? Okay, well, your Joe Knows Jack homework assignment this week is you're going to watch this movie and we'll come back next week. We'll discuss it.
Yeah. So
Sunday night, I'm sitting there and talking to Brian, and he's mentioning, oh yeah, I'm just, I'm feeling okay. I'm sitting around watching, some of my favorite movies. I'm watching They Live right now. I'm like, yeah, I've never seen it. He says, dude, it's so good. You got to see it. And I'm like, you know what? I got nothing else to do because it's 4th of July. Fireworks are just going off. I can't fucking work. I'm done with everything else. I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to watch the movie.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here, I got the AC going, I got I put it on the computer so I could just grab my headphones, put them on, and block out the fucking fireworks. And, Brian, and I told him, like, yeah, I'm going to watch it right now. Like, he's telling me, oh, this fight scene in the alley, all the lines were improvised, and you're going to love it. And I'm just like, I'm sure I will. And I never got to follow up with him. So,
yeah.
They Live is a fantastic fucking movie. I really enjoyed it. I really thought it was I already kind of knew the plot of it. I didn't really know how he got the glasses or anything like that. So it was nice to watch. It was, I was chatting with somebody else while I was watching it too. And they were like, oh yeah, it's a shame Roddy Piper didn't act in more movies, So, yeah, They Live was I enjoyed it.
Good.
So thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. I just wish I could tell you that story, in person. But I wished him a happy birthday Monday morning. Publicly, as I always do. And I said, hey, don't forget to wish Brian a happy birthday today. And, a couple of people, oh, I would, but he unfriended me. And I'm just like, oh, shit, that's right. He unfriended like 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hope he's not going to be mad about me doing this public birthday thing when he got rid of that many people. And I guess I'll never know. Yeah, but so many people reached out to me and were just like, dude, are you okay? Hey, and they're sharing stories with me, and they're telling me how Brian touched their lives. And I'm working the other night, and I just happened to glance up and I realized, wait, I'm using Reaper. And I wasn't using Reaper until Brian was like, dude, you got to try Reaper. It's such a good program, dude. It's way better than Audacity. And I'm like, okay, sure. So I've been using it ever since. And I realized when I looked, I'm like, oh, shit. And I had a voiceover client last week. I think it might have been like Wednesday. It might have been the day of the show.
It might have been.
Because I think I remember complaining about this on the show. I have this guy in my inbox, placed an order, didn't pay for rush delivery. And he's like, well, I need this right away because my usual guy he's been gone for like 2 days. And I'm like 2 days late. And I'm just like, okay, you want to pay for the rush delivery? I'll get it for you tonight. I'll guarantee you tonight I will get it for you. And I'm giving the dude a hard time. And I start talking to Brian later. And it dawns on me, like, wait a second. This guy's regular voice guy might be Brian. And so I look at his profile, and sure enough, all his reviews are from Brian. I said, dude, this guy's your client. I feel bad now. Like, I'm going to apologize to him. I'm going to do his job for him tonight. And I did. And I told the guy, I said, hey, man, if I would have known you were Brian's, you were one of Brian's guys, I would have not given you such a hard time. And I'm sorry about that. Because Brian's one of my best friends, blah, blah, blah. And you go, oh, yeah, I got to know him a little bit over the course of the time, that we were working together. And I'm looking forward to him getting better and, so I can talk to him again.
Yeah. And
I actually told Brian that story Sunday night. And Brian just goes, aw. And I'm sitting here like for the last like 2 nights, like Tuesday night, actually Tuesday morning and this morning, I'm sitting here like, I should tell this guy. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know where to begin, but I should tell this guy, but I also don't want it to sound like I'm like trying to sell him on hiring me as his voiceover guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm sitting there with you earlier before the show, just like,
yeah,
okay, this is what I got so far. What do I say now? And so I'm I hated to have to break that news, but I mean, knowing that guy liked Brian as a person,
yeah,
and I've got voiceover clients like that we're buddies. It was like I kind of have to tell him. And everybody I told this story to was like, yeah, you need to tell him. I would, like, okay, what do I say? And I'm trying to just be like, so I sent him a nice message. I said, listen, I'm afraid I have some sad news. And I told him Brian passed away. I told him that told him what he said to me about him and, that he seemed to appreciate that. And I said, listen, I don't want this to come across as like a sales pitch. But like, if you, in the meantime, while you're looking for a new voice guy, I'm happy to help you out. And, Brian and I were in a band with a guy, his name on here is Special K Media. If you want to try him for a different voice, but, just until you get somebody more permanent.
Right.
So, which was actually your idea and, until you find somebody more permanent. Yeah. So, hello, welcome. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's but that's been my last 2 days.
Yeah.
Just kind of dealing with all the what happened questions and
right. And we didn't have any clue for
yeah, I didn't know really what happened until like Lily posted a comment yesterday about what actually happened, and it was a blood clot that caused what was the cataclysmic
big words. She used a lot of big words.
Cataclysmic heart failure.
Okay.
And that's what he died of.
Yeah.
And so for anybody that was wondering, that's the answer.
Yeah.
That guy was VD Animation or something like that.
VD, really?
He's not from here.
Oh, okay.
It's probably like his initials or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
I would hope.
See if he hasn't gotten back to me, but anyway. So, yeah, but yeah, so that was that's been my 2 days.
Right.
And just like looking for pictures and videos and everything of Brian. Just, I think I've made like 3 different, in memoriam graphics. Like there's the one that's the thumbnail here. And there's one that's a thumbnail for, we released from the Living Brain Dead, a video of us playing a Silence the Cynic song called Hey You, which is one of Brian's projects, which we're going to actually close with that project today. And there was, I think, one more somewhere along the way in there, but it's just like, man, like this is tough, Like, I I don't lose close people often, and then when I do, it's one of the closest, you know,
Right.
like, I mean, besides the record collection, we've got the couch, we've got the air conditioners, we've got all sorts of stuff from Brian. The reason my guitars are hanging up in the next room over is because Brian was like, oh, you should hang them on the wall. It's better for them. Brian's the reason I own a PRS guitar. He was using it on when we recorded Falls Count Anywhere.
Yeah.
And he goes, he was using a PRS, and he's telling me how much he loves PRS guitars. And I'm like, okay. So when it came time to add to my collection, I'm like, I'm gonna buy a PRS. I don't like that guitar. It doesn't stay in tune. I got to get it blocked is what I got to do. And,
Yeah.
so I've been meaning to go to Guitar Center and do it and go to Brian's guy who does all his work.
Yeah.
And just haven't had time. So,
Right.
actually waiting to hear back from my tattoo artist. I was just kind of like, Brian brought so many people together.
He did.
And, I'm friends with his artist, Kirsten.
Yeah.
Who did all his work on, and I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I think it might be Kirsten.
It might be.
I could be wrong.
It might be.
I'm not sure. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. I apologize. I've never actually, I'm sure Brian mentioned it, and I just kind of, was like, you know how that is in conversation. Like, you hear things, and you know what he's talking about.
You're horrible with names.
I'm horrible with names,
Joe
too.
is horrible with names.
So anyway, but I'm talking with her earlier. She sends me, because the background of the thumbnail for today's show is part of the cover of Brian's latest album.
Yeah.
And she did that design, and I said, hey, is it cool with you if I use this? Oh, she said I pronounced it right. Hooray. All right, cool. So I said, is it cool with you if I use this? And she's like, yeah, of course. And then she sent me, I have a guitar pick on you can't see it.
You guys can't see it. I can see it, though.
I have a guitar pick. It's Black Rock Raven, which is one of Brian's things.
Yeah.
And I wanted to either put that on a incorporate that into some kind of design, and I was going to ask her about it.
Yeah.
And I never got around to it, but just this morning I get up and it's in my inbox. She's like, use it for whatever you want.
Wow.
And so I said, what I want to do is I want to take this, and I want to take the geometric triangle shape thing that she did with for Silence the Cynic, and I want to kind of combine those together and get a tattoo. So I reached out to my artist today. I'm waiting to hear back from him on when he's available to do it.
Yeah.
But that's what we're gonna do. I'm probably gonna get it right here.
Yeah.
I thought about getting on my leg, but then it's whenever we play shows, I'm never gonna have sleeves on.
Right.
But I will most of the time have pants on. So, I'd rather get it on my arm where it's visible. You know.
Yeah.
So hopefully sometime soon I can do that.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. But still got a couple of minutes before the song breaks, so I don't want to jump into anything too over the top here. But like any of the videos or anything, maybe we'll play one when we get back. But Brian, when Brian came to jam with the Living Brain Dead, the idea was, hey, can you just help me out until we find a bass player?
Yeah.
And so, we're at Ghetto Steve's house. We're setting up, and I'm picking at him because, he's a Billboard. He's been on Billboard, charted on Billboard. And I'm just picking at him about that. And, I don't know why. It just felt like the thing to do at the time.
He was easy to give shit to because he gave plenty to.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And so, and I just kept picking at him, whatever. And then he ends up, on the way home, he's like, dude, that was fun. Like, you want to keep doing it? He's like, I think I might. And then he was with us up until the day he died. He was in the Living Brain Dead, and we're, never going to forget that.
No.
Definitely want to find a way to pay tribute to him at every show. And we kind of decided we're going to just keep on playing the song Hey You from Silence the Cynic. So that's kind of our way of paying tribute to him. But the band that Brian was in when he charted on Billboard was a band called Lost Elysium.
Right.
And we haven't mentioned them on the show in a number of years, and we haven't played any of their music on the show in a number of years.
Right.
But this was one of my favorite guitar riffs that I always tried to like emulate whenever I picked up a guitar. Was Brian's riff in this Lost Elysium song called Remain the Same. And here it is on All WNY Think So Joe Show. All right, that was Lost Elysium, one of Brian's bands.
Right.
One of the bands Brian was in for a long time, and
Right.
you know, Brian and I had kind of a tendency to see his old bands at Music is Art after he left. We went and saw Lost Elysium at Music is Art, and then the next year after he had left Breaking Solace, we went and saw Breaking Solace at Music is Art. We tended to do that.
Yeah.
There's a great picture Nick Landers posted of, I think he posted, I don't know, at least he sent it to my inbox, I don't know, but it was me, Brian, and Nick all standing there. We were watching Tokyo Monsters at Music is Art. And I told Nick, I said, man, you know, like, my whole entire plan that day was I was going to go see you guys, come home, go to sleep, and go back for Tokyo Monsters and like everybody else that was coming up later in the day. But I bumped into Brian at Inherent Vice. And I said, you know, and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm going to go home and sleep. I haven't slept. And Brian goes, oh, you're not going to stay and hang out with me? I'm like,
how could you resist?
Okay, sure. I'll stay. Yeah, I'll stay. So I ended up leaving after Tokyo Monsters and going home and sleeping because I don't know why I didn't get any sleep the night before. I don't remember. Maybe I worked or something. I don't know. But like, yeah, Brian's like, you know, oh, hang out with me. Like, okay, I'll hang out with you. And then there was a guy selling vinyl, so of course we went and hung out by the guy selling vinyl, and I came home with like a Jimi Hendrix record and I think something else. I don't know what else. But maybe a Weird Al. I think maybe I got a Weird Al at that.
Probably.
I don't know. But yeah, you know, so we just hung out, wandered around, and you know, we wandered over from Inherent Vice. We saw Coffin Hook, and then we're wandering around and we bumped into Ed and Chris from Coffin Hook, and I'm like, oh man, you know, I got to get a shirt from you guys, and Ed's like, I got an XL right here,
Nice.
$10.
Nice.
I got $10 right here. Here, let's go. Let's do that. So,
Yeah.
you know, I want to share with you guys a video.
Yeah.
This is the very first time I met Brian was on October 10th, 2012, on a show that I used to co-host, in a dank basement that was littered with beer cans and everything. For some reason, on this day, I brought a cheesecake, and I don't know why. I haven't gone back to watch the episode, and I watched this video like as soon as I got home, and I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm like just bawling my eyes out because I'm just like, how the fuck is Brian gone? And the first media I consumed all day, literally. Like I hadn't watched YouTube or TV or anything. I didn't even listen to music on my way to the hospital. Like I had my headphones.
Yeah.
They stayed in my pocket because my whole way to the hospital, I'm trying to come up with the right words to tell, you know, Kevin and John that, dude, our bass player, our brother is gone, you know? And like in the car, you know, Lily gave me a ride home. So we're in the car with no music on, just talking. And so like the very first media I consumed, I went on YouTube and I looked up, trying to find when his band that when he got to Buffalo, Scarlet Embrace, when they were, I was trying to find if I had video of them, which I knew I did. It was just a matter of finding it.
Right.
And so I found it, and it was the first media I watched, and I sat there and I'm watching, and I watched it a couple of times. And then you came home on Monday, and I'm like, here, let me show you this video. And I noticed that's when I noticed the cheesecake. And I don't know why I brought a cheesecake. I have no idea to this day why. Like maybe I'll go back. The full episode's up. Maybe I'll go back, watch the full episode, and see if I explain at all why I brought a cheesecake to the show. I just remember the host of the show had this guitar-shaped spatula, which was shit. It was the worst fucking spatula I have ever used. And like, I think I was the only one that had any cheesecake. You know, like the host is like, oh, I'm lactose intolerant. Like, I didn't fucking know that. And then, like, you know, the whole band was on diets or something, you know.
Right.
But I was speaking to Jenny, the singer from Scarlet Embrace, and I asked her, hey, you know, I sent her this video.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's like, you know, I warned her that somebody she doesn't care for is in it. And, you know, she's like, I don't care, Brian's in it, you know. And I said, is it cool if I play that video I sent you on the show? And she gave me full permission to do so. So this is Scarlet Embrace. And this is from the Noah's Ark show in October of 2012. This is the day I met Brian Muller. And this song is called No One Wins on All WNY Think So Joe Show. Enjoy.
Race.
That was Scarlet Embrace. The song was called No One Wins from the Noah's Ark show in October of 2012.
So long ago.
It was the day I met Brian Muller.
Wow.
And, I said it on Monday. I said, the funniest, the funny thing about life is you never know who you're going to be, who you're going to meet, who you're going to be close to. And I was fortunate enough to be very close to Brian Muller and, get to share the last 8.5 years with him. There was another co-host on that show who was a very close friend of mine at one point. And at one point, him and Brian kind of fell out. Mm-hmm. And Brian was such a good friend to me that he was like, dude, I know how close you guys are. So I don't want to get in the way. And would not come over for wrestling pay-per-views and shit because he was just that good of a friend.
Wow.
That he was like, let me take care of, and Laura says her PayPal account's frozen. We'll have this open for a week for the links that we shared in the chat. Till the end of next week's show, we're going to take donations. Again, tips.thinksojoe.com. 100% of that's going to go towards Brian's, when we have it, the GoFundMe.
Yeah.
And also merch. If you buy merch from us, all the earnings that we would get, because we earn $3 a shirt.
Yeah.
All the earnings we get, I'm going to match and I'm going to put up towards the GoFundMe. And that's all through the end of next week's show.
Right.
But that was the kind of guy Brian was, was very loyal and very, didn't, he liked to stir shit up, but didn't like to stir shit up at the same time. You know what I mean?
Not real shit.
Not real shit.
Yeah.
Right. And then, how do you send butt pics to heaven? Good question, Mark. Good question.
They all go to heaven, Mark.
Yeah. Well, and then once I had a falling out with that same, same person, Brian was like, hey, you want to hang out? Let's go do stuff. Okay, cool. And I always used to joke with Brian because, I'm just it seems like every 7 years, I have friendships for 7 years and then they bail. And I always used to joke with him about that. And so when it crossed the 7 or 8 year mark, I'm just oh, it's time for you to go too. Time for you to turn your back on me. He never turned his back on me. I give him that. He just
unexpectedly.
No, he just went, and we were just shocked and just. And again, this isn't your typical episode of the ThinkSoJoE Show. This is, usually it's more fun and jubilant. And right now we'd be telling you about all the great upcoming events this weekend.
Yeah.
I know Pop Punk Karaoke is coming up Friday at the Rec Room.
That sounds fun. I totally didn't do my homework this week.
That's fine. I've been stuck with Nick for 20 plus years. Yeah. I got some friends that I've known for 20, 30 years, and I love them to death. But Brian just came along. It was the funny thing, the friend that I'm talking about that Brian didn't come around, ended up deciding he didn't want to be my friend because I called somebody else one of my best friends. Brian was never like that. Brian was always yeah, I know you got.
There's plenty of love for everybody.
I know you got more than just me. I know I'm not your only best friend. Just like I knew I wasn't his.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned earlier, as it turned out, me and his childhood best friend are the same damn person. Apparently, we're looking forward to meeting each other at the memorial service. Right. But we're not thrilled about it being at a memorial service.
Absolutely.
We wish we would have gotten to meet. He was in town. He did a cover of Blink-182's "Damn It."
Yeah.
As a guest vocalist on a Silence the Cynic single release.
Yeah.
And which had no bearing on the Living Brain Dead going on to consistently cover "Damn It." It was just something that, popped up in practice and we just kept doing. And I'm like, what Blink out do we do when we're for our next thing, whenever we're paying homage to Brian? And, Kevin's like, maybe we just actually finish the song. And I'm like, I guess I could learn that. It's just that do. I could do that. I could come up with that. Anyway. So yeah, but you know, when we first got together, and now it's official. We can never get married ever.
Yeah.
When we got together, Brian says, "You two cannot get married. You could be together forever, but you cannot get married because she sucks at engagements and you suck at marriages." And it's like, fair enough.
Yeah.
And then right after we start dating, I don't know if you remember this, he sends me a picture and he captions it, "She's cheating on you, dude." And I, just out of a shitty relationship, you know what I mean? A couple of years out of a shitty relationship at that point, but I'm just like, oh, like what the fuck? What's going on? And I open it up, it's a picture of you with a fucking sandwich or something, right? Brian is the reason XM Priory plays Degenerated. That is absolutely true. Because Brian was like, you guys would do a great cover of Degenerated by the the Lone Rangers in Airheads, which I later found out was a Reagan Youth cover. But you guys did all that fucking work, all that effort. You scared all those people. You had all those cops. You went to jail to play a cover song on the radio.
Sounds legit.
Anyway. Which, if we play cover songs, maybe we'll go to jail. Anyway.
Yeah, you can try.
I mean, the worst case scenario is YouTube would be like, no. And Facebook will mute us again.
Right.
And Scott will get mad because Scott doesn't want us playing cover songs on all WNY.
We can just send the birds after him.
But that's literally what happened. Brian called out XM Priory, said you guys would do a great version of Degenerated. And they were like, okay, we'll do a great version of Degenerated.
And indeed they do.
And I got to play that with them the one time. So right before, which in turn inspired me to start The Living Brain Dead with Brian. So all comes together in the end, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, that's true. I mean, it's just funny just how many people were like reaching out to me and I'm like, this is how Brian felt about you. You know, like Grant from the Dreadnecks reached out and Drew from the Long Cold Dark. Both actually Drew was the very first one. And I just posted, I think I was texting the band or something and it's like, Drew messaged you, and I'm like, huh? And he's like, dude, what happened? I'm so sorry. He was so young. I thought he was doing well with recovery, you know, just like everybody else. Right. But it must have been like the first one to see it. And Grant posted something, and I commented. I said, dude, you know, he loved you guys. He really did. He loved it, especially when Grant from the Dreadnecks and Drew from the Long Cold Dark would have like hardcore wrestling matches in the middle of a show, which they did a few times. And they had this like little, you know, replica like toy belt, you know, like you would buy at like Walmart, you know, and their own custom graphics on it and shit. Brian always wanted a challenge for that belt and never got to. Always wanted to, but never got to.
Oh man.
So I told Grant that, and he's like, "Oh man, that's that's heavy," you know. Like, yeah, he liked you guys, man. Just you know. And it's just funny how many people like reached out to me, and it's just like, oh yeah, Brian, Brian thought, said this, said this nice thing about you.
Yeah, it was nice things about everybody.
Yeah, said nice things about you, and it's that's why I kind of felt obligated to like tell his client like, hey man, I really don't want to tell you this, but you're gonna have to know, so, Oh, cool. I got it. Should we mention?
We should.
Okay.
All things.
Okay. So the memorial service.
Yes, the memorial service.
That's going to be the 23rd?
The 23rd.
23rd of this month. That's at Loomis and Loomis Funeral Home.
Right around the corner from us, right? Right
around the corner here, yeah, in South Buffalo. We don't know a time yet.
No.
As soon as we know, we'll make sure everybody knows.
Absolutely.
Also, we are throwing a benefit show. We're just announcing this right now.
Yeah.
That's going to be September 4th at Tudor Lounge. Unfortunately, the Living Brain Dead not available to play. We have somebody to that was going to fill in for that, and unfortunately, just the timing didn't work out for all of us. And then we're just like, okay, well, when else can we do it? And I put everybody's availability into a calendar, and the whole damn thing was red for September.
Ridiculous.
So I'm just like, maybe we do our own thing in October. But we're trying to put that together now. We just had one band confirm. I don't really want to announce it just yet.
Let's not do that yet. But if you guys are interested, certainly get in our inboxes. There's been such a huge outpouring of love and support that we know a lot of people want to be a part of this.
Yeah, he's and I'm super excited to be able to put this on and have some of the bands that we're trying to get. We've got a kissy face from Nick on it. Anyway, we're internally in the Living Brain Dead, we're hoping to make this a annual thing in July starting next year, where we just go throw a big party disguised as a show in Brian's honor. Not that, any show I throw isn't just a big party disguised as a show, but to John Johnson in the comments on Facebook, he had just had surgery on Friday to clear out some like bone fragments that were floating around and a herniated disc and get a nerve unwrapped from around his spine. And we thought he was recovering. We thought he was going to do well. He was getting feeling back in his fingers. And then he just, I guess he had a blood clot that caused a cataclysmic, that's a tough word to say, cataclysmic, when it's not right in front of me on a screen, heart failure. And that's unfortunately how we lost Brian. And just so suddenly, like we had no time to like prepare. And
no, we thought he was coming along great.
Yeah, just so like my last couple of days have just been completely like thrown off. Just like, wow, how did he's too damn young. He died on his 35th birthday.
Yeah,
it's way too young.
Definitely.
And like.
And here you are, 47.
Brian was always my new profile picture on Facebook is the only picture I could find of just me and Brian, but we're in a crowd of people, and it's we got a donation from more $5. Brian the greatest. So, thank you, Jen. We appreciate that. She says we're doing an amazing job honoring Brian. So we're in this, this picture is just us in a crowd of people at a Blink-182 show. I was talking to Mark Strickland, who's also watching right now. And he said, I don't have a picture with Brian. We were just too busy having fun, laughing and enjoying life. And it's like, that's pretty much it with me and Brian. Like there's pictures of us in like groups of people. Like, Nick Lucido posted one of like the whole All WNY crew together back when Brian was co-hosting with me. And, obviously we got the album cover and all that, and some pictures of the band together, but just not anything of just Brian and I hanging out. And, but there's a couple of videos out there of those. John Johnson said his grandfather died the same way. He's jealous. He's rocking with Jimi Hendrix. Anyway, so yeah. But this picture that I have of us, that's my profile picture on Facebook now, is at the Blink-182 show at Art Park. I think it was like 2017. And we get there, and Brian is just going around for no fucking reason, telling everybody I'm 47 years old. I was 35 at the time. I was his age at the time. And I'm just like, dude, I am not 47. And he's like, okay, your birthday's in a few months. You're 46, whatever. It's just, and that was a recurring joke with me and Brian, was he would just keep telling people I was 47, despite the fact that, my age that I tell people I am is 27 plus, whatever, so 27 plus 12 right now for me, 13 this year, but, and that was the joke. Brian recently put out an ambient album.
Yes, he did.
And he was very happy to have gotten it out before he got hurt and before he had to have surgery. Very thankful. Never mourn the death, you celebrate the life. Yeah, exactly. That's what we're here for. We're not trying to. I know it's hard for us a little bit. It's hard for us a little bit to get through this because we love Brian very much, his whole family. Yeah. And they were so good to us. Absolutely. And I hope we were as good to him as he was to us. But we definitely want to celebrate him and not mourn him because he would be pissed if we were sitting here just fucking crying. So he put out an ambient album, which is called, you don't remember either, do you?
Jesus. Something physics. What is it called?
I'm going to have to look it up now. I forgot what it's.
I can't remember how it's phrased.
A victim of physics. I didn't have to find it. And I got it before Kirsten told us what it was. A Victim of Physics, his latest album, just before he passed away. I saw a few people, Kirsten included, my friend JT in Syracuse, who used to co-host Board Wrestling Fan with Brian and I, also posted that he had gotten his in the mail, and Brian had handwritten notes to everybody. Yeah. I didn't get no damn handwritten note.
I know.
What's up with that? I'm supposed to be your best friend, dude. Anyway, and he was he told us the story after he was on the show to promote the album. I don't think we played it on the show, but he was telling us how proud he was of this song. Just all the instruments he used and just how he managed to make it just interesting for the entire song length duration. And this song is called A Palm Tree and a Tiny Umbrella. And when I come back, Laura's in the chat. She said BWF. Kevin got a handwritten note. I didn't get a handwritten note. Come on.
I didn't either. He handed me a CD.
Anyway, we didn't get it in the mail. I guess that's what it is. That. Anyway, when we come back, I'm going to tell you a story about Board Wrestling Fan and Brian. But right now, this is Brian Lee Muller under the name B. Lee Muller, which he went by professionally. This song's called A Palm Tree and a Tiny Umbrella. On all WNY, the Think So Joe Show. That was B. Lee Muller on All WNY Think So Joe Show. The track called A Palm Tree and a Tiny Umbrella. Brian sending handwritten notes to everyone except us, apparently, when he sent out A Victim of Physics. He was so proud of that album, too. Like, he has the Living Brain Dead album, Falls Count Anywhere, up on his wall like I do.
Right.
And he shared a picture of, he got a frame with the CD in it of A Victim of Physics, and it was right next to the Living Brain Dead one, and he was just so proud of that album.
Awesome.
So I'm glad you guys all got the CD and a handwritten note. Brian and I did a lot of podcasts over the years.
Right.
The first time, of course, was the video we showed earlier of him in Scarlet Embrace on the Noah's Ark show. And Brian wanted to promote something. I don't remember what it was. Wanted to come on and promote something. And I was like, let me get you on the Thomas Loop, which was the show that aired at 8 o'clock on Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to Tom and I said, hey man, my buddy wants to come on. Is that cool? I'll hang out with him too. And he goes, well, I'm not going to be in it, but if you want to do a Thomas Loop. So I hosted the Thomas Loop show without Thomas Loop with Brian as my guest here in this studio. We had at the time, the studio was a card table with a laptop and a shitty like Radio Shack mixer on it and like Radio Shack karaoke mics. Like, it was terrible. Brian and I both had a fascination with the wrestler Raven. It's being asked in the chat right now. His favorite wrestler was Bret Hart, but we both loved Raven, and we both got to meet Raven a few years ago, which was great. I actually just did a voiceover about Raven.
Yeah. And
sent my client a picture of me with Raven. Like, hey, this is me and my buddy's, favorite wrestler together. And Brian later, he co-hosted Think Metal with me a couple of times when that existed, even though I deny its existence normally, but this isn't a normal episode. So, and he was a frequent guest host on Board Wrestling Fan with the rest of us. Me and JT and Mark Noyce and everybody. So he was a frequent guest, and he was a frequent guest host, and a frequent guest on the show was an NFL player named Gary Barnage, who, when we first had him on, he played for the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
At some point, he got traded or just somehow signed, he went and signed with the Cleveland Browns, right? And so I came up with this joke. I'm just like, I have an idea. Anytime anybody says Cleveland Browns on this episode, I'm gonna play the first few notes of the Cleveland show theme.
Yeah.
And I said this before we went on the air. Mm-hmm. We get on the air, we get Gary on. Gary starts talking, and Brian immediately just keeps saying Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Browns, and just killed the joke. Just killed the joke. And it became, and the reason it's programmed into the board is because we did a reunion show a couple of years ago of Board Wrestling Fan, and I needed it because it was our go-to. Like, if somebody said something like really funny, it was like a badge of honor for us to play that after somebody made a joke,
Okay.
And that was all because of Brian. And then of course Brian came on and we did the Think So Joe show when when I was starting this show, he was my very first choice for a co-host, and he said, yeah. He did it for a number of years before he was like, dude, I just don't have the time anymore.
Right. He had so many projects going on.
And then he, and so much vinyl to listen to.
Right.
And so he, and then you decided to step in and be my co-host, and we've been doing this for a few years now. And, no, Brian wasn't big into hockey, but I am rocking a Revolver Records hockey jersey today in honor of Brian, because it was Brian's favorite article of clothing, I think.
Yeah.
He was wearing that constantly after. We both got him on the same day.
Right.
He was wearing his constantly. He never wore a shirt under it.
Really?
Which I didn't have the heart to tell him, dude, you're supposed to wear a shirt under it.
Yeah.
It still looked good on him. Everything did. Brian's a good-looking dude. Was a good-looking dude. And but yeah, he would You know, and so we would start going to record stores together. Like my first time I ever set foot in Revolver Records, the one on Hurdle, before they even opened any of the other locations, was May 19th a couple of years ago.
I'm wondering how you remember all these dates, but I know that they're all many big deals.
This date is relevant because you had a show in Burt.
Yeah.
That Brian played, and I went with Brian. Brian opened that. I had a show that night at Good Bar that I was putting on.
Yeah.
And Brian drove me to Good Bar. And on the way, May 19th, Kevin knows why I know May 19th. I'm sure some other folks who are wrestling minded in the chat know about May 19th. Anyway, so Brian's like, hey, do you want to stop at Revolver? So, yeah, sure. Why the hell not? I think it was just after you and Allison got me that record player.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, totally. So we go to Revolver on Hurdle, and I found White Zombie Astro Creep 2000 on vinyl. And I said to the guy, we're going to say, hey, man, how are these music on vinyl pressings? Which, by the way, they're fan-fucking-tastic. I own a bunch of them now. He said, oh, they're really good. Yeah, they sound really good. And so I picked that up. Brian dropped me off at Good Bar, and I was like, dude, can you just, throw this in my front door when I get, so I can just grab it when I get home, so I'm not going to, carry it around with me all night. And he did, and then all the bands, donated to your cause for your show in Burt.
Yeah.
That was, totally, where my love affair with the record store started. And Brian, I had a love affair with the record store before, just not as much as I do now. When after COVID hit and everything shut down for a little while, when things started opening back up, the first day Revolver Records was open, Brian's like, hey, you want to go to the record store? Yeah, sure. Why the hell not? So we went to Elmwood Revolver, bought a bunch of shit there. Hey, you want to go to Hurdle? Sure. Went to Hurdle, bought a bunch of shit there. And then there was one day we went to 4 different fucking record stores. My joke, and it's not even really a joke, was that Brian was my reason why I would go over budget.
Right.
I would have a budget in mind. I would get close to that budget. Brian would be like, hey, you should buy this record and put it on my pile.
Yeah.
And I can tell you at least 3 records that were just thrown on my pile by Brian, which is the Sound City soundtrack, a local band called The Chosen Ones, and this band called War on Women, who are opening for Bad Religion and Alkaline Trio.
Oh, I can't wait.
And I'm sitting here Sunday night, fireworks going off. I can't do shit. There's nothing I can do. So I'm just like, fuck, I'm just going to sit here and listen to vinyl. And the last record I listened to that night before I put on They Live, because Brian said you should watch They Live, was the War on Women record.
Yeah.
That thing was sitting on my turntable until today.
Yeah.
It was the last thing I listened to. It was the last record I listened to before he died, was one of the records he convinced me to buy, and justifiably so, because it's Brian. And that's, I don't know what you did, but that's banging up against the trash can now, the fan down there. Anyway, yeah, so Brian has been my excuse why I come home with more records than I want. Very, very, very true story. I went to the record store with $200, $250. I spent $100. I'm like, how the fuck did I only spend $100? What's missing? I'm like, oh, I didn't go with Brian. So yeah, Brian was my excuse to go overboard, and I just found out I'm getting first look through of his records, and I'm like, he's got so many.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, I don't even know. There's definitely some stuff in there I want, but I want to pay a fair price to Lily for them. Most expensive record he got me to buy was probably the Sound City.
How much was that one?
Probably $35.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, he, we were always sending each other links to pre-order records and shit. Yeah. So, he, I'm in the hospital with Lily. I'm sitting in the room with Lily by Brian's bedside after he passed. And I said, he just told me, that you found out about all his record pre-orders. And she's like, they just keep coming.
And I was talking to her today, and she said, oh, he just got 2 more records in the mail. And then she corrected herself. It looks like the one was a 4-pack and the other one was a 1-pack.
He was looking forward to that White Stripes record too. But anyway, yeah, so that was, that was our thing. We'd just go to record stores and just spend money, and he was a bad influence on me in that way. But
like I always say to my mom and my sister, at least it's not drugs.
Yeah.
Fair
enough.
if you're gonna go overboard with something, I would really prefer it to be music.
Yeah.
Over some of the things that it could be.
Well, Revolver opens back up, and Phil posts a thing on Facebook like, "Oh, we got Revolver. We've had these in stock. We just haven't had them out on the floor because we wanted to do it for hockey season. Blah blah blah." And what was the record he had I really wanted? I don't really know. I'm looking forward to kind of flipping through his collection and seeing if there's anything I really want.
Yeah.
There's probably some Pink Floyd and shit. And I know he had like a really like a Cyndi Lauper record that was kind of rare that he went out of his way to get, that he kind of cherished, and I might want that one.
That's so Brian, but that's so random. Like he had a cherished Cyndi Lauper vinyl. Like
he's so unusual.
Unusual.
Anyway, no, the name of the first Cyndi Lauper record is "She's So Unusual."
Oh, okay.
That's the joke. When Joe, I don't hide vinyl from her.
No, I don't think you do.
She knows all the vinyl I buy. I come home and I post them all on Instagram. How can she miss them?
That's true.
I posted a picture of me and Brian. It's the same picture from us at Blink.
Yeah.
And I posted it on Instagram. I said, this is the reason all of my fucking posts are vinyl. This guy right here. Yeah. And that's so true. Like, he's the reason I buy vinyl. He's the reason I own all this vinyl. You want to I want to go to another video. People have been sharing videos and pictures and stuff. Like, I don't think I've ever shared this one. I know I've never shared this one. I took a bunch of videos when Lost Elysium played the Hard Rock Cafe.
Okay.
And I posted one of them to my YouTube, my personal YouTube, and I looked it up. It was not this one. But this is another Lost Elysium song I really like, and I can kind of play the acoustic version of it.
Okay.
And I am completely drawing a blank on what the fuck. Mutilate Myself is the name of the song.
Okay.
And we're going to play it for you now, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. This is never before seen video of Brian playing with Lost Elysium, and I'll tell you more about it when we come back. But this is Lost Elysium, Mutilate Myself, live at the Hard Rock Cafe in Niagara Falls. was Lost Elysium, the song called Mutilate Myself, live at the Hard Rock Cafe. I don't know the date, but I went with Brian.
Yeah.
And I got to go like in the back of the Hard Rock Cafe and all that and go hang out with the band the whole time. Meredith Snow and Nick Landers were there with me.
Cool.
Meredith popped up in the video.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw her.
I didn't notice.
Anyway, she pops up in the middle of that video because she was taking pictures. And I had this brand new phone, like the LG something 10, that had like all the fucking like DSLR like features that you would find in like a fancy camera like we use for the show here.
Yeah.
And I was just like, look, my phone can do the same shit your $500 to $600 camera can do. And no, it can't. Who was Brian really excited to meet? Or he was really excited to meet Everclear.
Yes, he was.
I got a story about that, actually. I'll tell that in a second. But the guitar Brian was using in that video, that was Betty.
That was beautiful.
That was Betty. That was one of Brian's favorite guitars. And as I mentioned earlier, we're doing a tribute show on September 4th, and I was going to ask Lily if I could borrow it if we were able to play, but we're not able to play. So maybe for whenever we do something, hopefully in October, our own little tribute to Brian, I'll get to ask if I can use it and play, because he loved that guitar. And I got to tech for him at Mohawk Place one night. And he just had he had the set list and he had like all the notation of what guitars he wanted and when. And so I went to hand him another guitar. He was playing Betty. And I went to hand him another guitar. He just wanted to keep playing Betty.
Aww.
And there's something on my hat. There it goes. It's gone. Whatever it was. Anyway, Brian was really excited to meet Everclear. Yeah. He was friends with a couple of the dudes from Everclear on Facebook. And he's a huge fan. Even convinced me to buy Art Alexakis's solo album, which is incredible. Fantastic album. Very left-wing, anti-Trump, anti-fascism, stuff like that. Like the stuff, the stuff Living Brain Dead members would like. And he went to this Everclear show and he wanted to get up front, so he got there like super early. And there's this picture that I guess our friend Dave Stevens snapped right at the moment Everclear came on stage of Brian. And a guy sent me this picture the other day. Brian had posted it a couple of weeks ago. A guy sent me this picture the other day. He says, I'm the guy standing next to Brian in the picture. I said, dude, I don't know how I am not in this picture, because I got there in the middle of the first band. Mm-hmm. I don't remember who the first band was. I know, I think American Hi-Fi and maybe Fuel were on this show. I don't know. Which Fuel was great. Whether you like their music or not, like Brett Scallions was up there, like saw a little girl with no ear protection, and he was like, somebody give me a pack of earplugs. And he's like, no, don't open them. Just hand them to me. So they give him a pack of earplugs. He says, pass them back to that little girl back there. Like, it's cool that you brought your kid to rock out, but ear protection, man.
Yeah.
It's too loud for her. But I got there in the middle of like the opening band and was right behind Brian. Tapped him on the shoulder like, hey, he was wearing a Lost Elysium hat. I'm like, I know that band. I waved at him and he's like, how the fuck did you get up here? I've been here since like 3:00. When did you get here? I'm like 10 minutes ago. He's like, dude, really? He was so, and I, every time I would see this picture and he would share this story about it being the moment that, Everclear came out, I'm just like, hey, you remember? Like, yeah, you tell me every time I post this picture. So this guy who's next to Brian in this picture, I don't think they knew each other at the time, or maybe they weren't like friends at the time. Like maybe they just met. I don't know. But he sends me this picture. He sent me a friend request. I'm like, oh, this guy knows Brian. So I added him, and he sends me because anybody that's still on Brian's friends list is probably cool with Brian. Right. You know what I mean? Because he deleted like 3,000 plus people. True. So he goes, guy sends me the picture, and I tell him that story, and I, it's just like, yeah, it's hilarious that he, that happened. And Brian was never like super into like meeting bands. Mm-hmm. Like even when they would open for like big bands, he's just like, oh, that's cool. So, it wasn't like anything where he just was like fanboying out over anybody. I think he probably would have done that for like Lizzie Hale.
Yeah.
Or like Joan Jett.
Yeah.
Or something. Like I was telling you Sunday night, I'm sitting here realizing it's Brian's birthday in the morning, and I'm like looking through Cameo. I'm like, are the members of Blink 182 on Cameo? No. Right. Okay, is Lizzie Hale on Cameo? No. Is Joan Jett? No. Okay, I got nobody that I could think that I want to send a Cameo to Brian. You know, maybe I could have found Art Alexakis or something from Everclear, but yeah, he wanted to hear the music, man. He didn't give a fuck about the celebrity status. You know, and the same with him playing music. Like, that's all he ever wanted to do with his life was play music.
Yeah.
And you know, and he got to do that. You know, it sucked that he couldn't do it for like the last month or two, but he got to do that. He got to live his life playing music and, you know, make money behind a microphone and in a recording studio. Right. And, you know, I shared a meme earlier, and it was like, oh, ready to record this guitar solo? Yeah. And 50 takes later. And I said, man, this is just like being in the studio with Brian doing his best Johnny Helms impression, saying, okay, play that again, but better. Johnny commented, he said, man, I miss you. Yeah, man, I miss you too. But yeah, that's, so I don't know. He didn't really give a shit about me. Like, he met Everclear, and he got to meet a lot of bands. Yeah, the Living Brain Dead. Anyway, well, he was surprised when the band asked him to play with them. Yeah, the Living Brain Dead for sure. I think he kind of expected the rest of the bands, but for me, I'm just like, hey, I'm trying to start a band, bud. Can you fill in for bass? And then we've just asked him to stay, and he did. You know, but yeah, he. I lost my train of thought now because I answered the question. Yeah, he didn't
care about meeting the.
He didn't care about. Yeah, he didn't care about meeting. He wanted to just play music. He wanted to hear music, and he wanted to go to shows and just live. You know, and that's what he did. So, but he also worked at like Rapids Theater for a while, and so he got to meet like Corey Taylor. He was super stoked to meet Corey Taylor. Yeah, I went to that Corey Taylor show. Not for Corey Taylor at all. I went for fucking Steel Panther, and Brian got me into the show.
Right.
We used to get like tickets for all WNY, and it, like they were for like giveaways or for like the staff or whatever. So, like the first couple of times I saw Steel Panther, I went for free.
Yeah.
And then when I saw they were coming with like Corey Taylor, I'm like, we couldn't get passes because it was going to sell out.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to go to this show. And Brian was like, yeah, I'll get you in.
Yeah.
And we saw like Fozzy the night before.
Oh, right.
I saw Fozzy, Brian was working, and I asked Brian, I'm like, should I go buy a ticket or what? And he goes, no, I'll get you in. Even if I can't get you a ticket, I can sneak you in the back door.
Yeah.
He didn't have to sneak me in the back door. He got me a ticket. I'm standing out in line. He comes, hands me this little blue ticket.
Yeah, the tiny blue tickets. I know.
And he's like, yeah, I was just hanging out with Corey Taylor backstage. And,
no big deal.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of were they the Cherry Bombs or something like that? It was a burlesque group opened that show.
Oh.
And Brian's, yeah, I was just hanging out with the Cherry Bombs and hanging out with Corey Taylor. I have on my wall outside, this guy messaged, the guy with the picture of Brian at Everclear. Mm-hmm. He was like, Brian got me all kinds of pics and set lists and all kinds of stuff. And I'm just thinking like, I got this, this hell yeah set list on my wall. It's literally like a blue, like, keep this ticket, one of those deals, like a raffle ticket looking thing. I got a hell yeah set list on my wall from Brian that he gave me after, and I found it like the day after Vinnie Paul died. I forgot he even gave it to me, and I found it like the day after Vinnie Paul died. But anyway, we're going to get into some more music. This is actually one of my songs. I was really debating what Living Brain Dead song I wanted to play.
Yeah.
Because there's like Bomb the Incel Industry where Brian's got a cool solo. Mm-hmm. I was thinking maybe this isn't even my final form because even though that's Kevin on the album saying it, Brian liked to say that all the time. This isn't even my final form. And So I was thinking of that and like Gur Arg because he wrote the whole damn thing, except for the lyrics, and but I went with Violated because I think his little bass solo in this one is pretty cool.
Okay.
So, and also, while he's playing the bass solo, fun fact for you, never before revealed, it is Brian playing the guitar, making the little spacey noises.
That's cool.
So this is The Living Brain Dead. This song's called Violated on All WNY, the Think So Joe Show.
Can I say, can I feel, can I breathe? Lying at you, pulling down, dragging down, tearing down, digging at you. Rain is down, skin's on fire, lost your voice, taken away. You can't sustain this. It's not your fault, this living hell. This coward's trapped you inside this hole. So till you live your life for all it's worth, they don't know this living hell you live in. No escape, words are nothing. Rain is dumb, skin's on fire, lost your soul. Nothing is left. These bastards fucked up your heart. It's not your fault, this living hell. These cowards trapped you inside this hole. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
It was The Living Brain Dead and Violated, Brian's last full band.
Right.
And, we're bummed to have lost him.
Of course.
And, we're just kind of, we're all grieving and in mourning and kind of hoping to do something nice for him down the line. I mean, aside from, we're already throwing him a benefits show and all that, but like, hoping to do something as a full band to kind of honor him. And, like we were already looking at somebody to like kind of fill in for a little bit
Right.
while he was recovering from his surgery. So we, got that person recruited to kind of do some stuff with us just over the next couple of months, just to get through, hopefully Music is Art and, hopefully just our own little tribute show to Brian. So, and then, maybe then we'll start, but, nobody's ever going to replace Brian.
Not in any
Any
aspect.
sort of way, no. I mean, like, even the song, I was talking to Kevin, I'm like, well, I'm debating between this and Final Form, and he's like, well, didn't Brian write Violated? I'm like, no, or Final Form? I'm like, no, I wrote that riff. And then Brian, like he did, just came back 20 minutes later, like, here's the whole song.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. Like drums, bass, everything. Guitar. And it's just like, okay, cool. I guess I got to learn how to play this now. Even though I wrote the original riff, and, he did that a lot. We had a few songs that he fully wrote, and, he was always good at explaining how to play them, like tell me how to play them.
Yeah.
And so he was like, and he would write down how to play the solos that he would do in like some of these songs. And I'm just like, dude, I'm never going to remember that. So I just play like I shared the video for when we did Hey You at Nietzsche's. And I'm just like, I do these just like fucking made up shitty guitar solos where he would have solos in the songs. And like the one at Nietzsche's was like the best, but like I was watching one from, I don't know if it was Tudor or if it was one from Stamps, but it was just like, ugh, what was I playing? Are those real fucking notes, you know? So, yeah, tattoos honoring great people who've passed away. Yeah, oh no, I mentioned at the start of the show I'm getting one for Brian.
Oh, yeah.
I've already contacted my artist. My tattoo artist, and we're trying to just find a time. Yeah. I sent him what I want, and that's all stuff from his artist, Kirsten, that she's done for his various projects. When she was not available to do a logo for the Living Brain Dead. Oh. And so we just hired some dude off Fiverr, and he did a great job.
Yeah.
Like, we adore that skull logo. Yeah. And we just plaster it on everything. It's on like every piece of merch and everything. And since she was unable to do the artwork for us, when she did the Silence the Cynic album, Not Too Numb, the cover of that is like a brick wall, and it's got like a flyer on it for Silence the Cynic. And just off to the left, it's right over a Living Brain Dead like poster.
Oh, yeah?
There's a Living Brain Dead logo in that album cover. That. Yeah, which was really cool. Oh, Brian was much better at guitar. I mean, not to say that he was bad at bass.
No, not at all.
But his passion was guitar, and he was just a phenomenal guitar player. And just working with him made me that much better. Yeah. Just especially recording Falls Count Anywhere. Like, I'd go over to his studio. He's like, bring your purple LTD, which is still right here. I can't reach it right now, but it's right over here. It stays in the studio. It's my like go-to electric guitar when I grab it, when I want to write or when I want to play or just anything. Yeah. It's right here. Bring your purple, LTD, and we'll and then you can use some of my stuff to record. So we were using like Gretches and a PRS and stuff like that, and we have this song, it's called Heil This Shitbag. And we all kind of hate this song. It was the second song we ever wrote together. Because we wrote Bomb the Incel Industry. And like I had that riff, that whole basic song written by the time we went to meet up with Ghetto Steve, our first drummer. And which I need to text him back, tell him I don't need his services. We thought we might have needed him at some point, depending on when that show was. But anyway, but we don't, because it's gonna be later. But anyway, so I had that pretty much written, and I just had this idea just, and I was just playing that constantly. You can vouch for that, I'm sure. And so that was like the second song we ever wrote, and we played that, and I was never great at playing it, and especially like in the verses, because there's a lot of palm muting. Which is where you hold your palm at the bottom of the strings to kind of dampen the sound a little bit. And I was never great at that song, but when we're recording it, Brian hands me, and let me tell you, I use like 1 millimeter or like thicker picks, like the thickest fucking picks I can use. And I've always used the thickest picks I can use, ever since I can remember. Brian hands me a fucking like medium. And he's like, in fact, I think it's this Black Rock Raven pick that's on that I mentioned earlier. He hands me a thinner pick, and he says, "Don't try so hard. Like, loosen up your wrists. Just play." And ever since then, I've been much better at playing that song. I still hate that song. I don't hate the song. I don't hate listening to the song. I hate playing the song.
Okay.
But listening to it, I just over the last, I listened to it yesterday, because like I said, we were trying to get ready for like a tribute show or something, and so I sent it to the bass player, like the last practice we ever all four of us did together. I sent it to the bass player, and I'm like listening to all the songs because I'm like, I gotta tell him what chords I'm playing, He's like, what key are they in? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I'll send you the chords, dude. I don't, that's the best I can do. I can tab them out if you need me to, but you know, and just listening to it, it's like, you know, this song really isn't as bad as I think it is. I just don't like playing it. But I liked playing it a lot more like after the album came out. Which we didn't get to do much because it came out literally as everything shut down.
Right.
We played Head PE and got the CDs in the next Monday.
Right.
Right. And by the way, Bandcamp Friday this Friday.
Yes.
Livingbraindead.bandcamp.com. Yeah, everything's a half step down when we play, Kevin asked. And but yeah, I told him, okay, we tune half step down. I'm sending you everything in standard notation. So I we got the CDs in like right after we played our last like public show.
Like 2 days after.
Yeah, literally like 2 days after. But anyway, Bandcamp. If you buy from Living Brain Dead's Bandcamp, you could get there. livingbraindead.com has a link, or just livingbraindead.bandcamp.com. It's not that hard to remember. If you go there this Friday, any sales we make this Friday are going to go towards Brian's final wish to be pressed into a vinyl record.
That's awesome.
So we're gonna make this happen for him.
Heck yes.
One way or another.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. I saw Blondie with Brian once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Cool.
Yeah, guitar picks. I was always using like the 1 millimeter, like Nick says, the 1.14 millimeters. I was using the thickest fucking picks possible. And I know Nick's probably got some of my XM Priory picks because I didn't take them. I kept a couple because like I'm not in the band. What the fuck do I need them for? I have one to put on display. It's right. There's one right here.
It's right there.
It's right. You know, I have a whole row of like picks of bands that I was in, and then a couple of Brian's picks. Few more local bands. There's a Smile Empty Soul pick, and then there's a Lost Elysium pick. And the last time Brian was here, the last time Brian did the show, he's sitting here and he's looking, and he looks over at the, you know, line of picks over here. He's like, "Oh, I'm on there." I was like, "You're on here a bunch of times, dude. You got your Black Rock Raven, your Seventh Son Studios, your, you know, Lost Elysium." And, you know, but, so after that, after the recording session, so I have the black picks, which are the thick ones. And I got red ones because our album cover was like a cream and red.
Yeah.
And that's literally the only colors in there. There's no deviation from those two colors. There's no like shades or nothing. It's all those two colors, which I was looking at some of the pictures yesterday from the photo shoot, and I'm just like, John doesn't look nearly as terrifying on the album cover as he does in this picture. And it's funny because you can look at some of these pictures of John, my drummer, and he's just saying,
He's so cute.
he's looking all adorable, and then it's just like somebody said, John, no, look mean. And the next picture, like he's gonna kick your ass, you know. Like I guess he must have been like I don't think I think he knew what we were doing going for. It's funny because the picture that's the thumbnail for this week's show is Brian, and it's the one that we used on the album cover. Yeah. And it's him like you know, like giving kind of like the Raven pose from ECW, and it comes up past John's head, so it's like this, and somebody goes, "Dude, what's up with John's arm?" And it's like, that's not John's arm.
John's arms are down here.
John's arms are down here in the like, you know, Mortal Kombat versus screen pose, and he's up against it's me and him in the versus screen poses, and Kevin and Brian just doing, you know, Kevin and Brian poses. And then on the actual like disc itself, we're all in the Mortal Kombat poses. Yeah. But after we recorded Falls Count Anywhere, I got the red picks with the cream Shield logo, which, let's see if I can. It's not gonna.
Go back a little. Nope.
I can't get him.
Nope.
I'd have
not
to stand
in focus.
up. I can stand up and I can put it right up to the camera. You'll be able to see it. Brian said he was trying to do a Triple H pose. That makes sense. I can't get it in focus. There it goes. Kind of. Sort of. I don't know. I can't really get it in focus, but now we gotta wait for us to. Anyway, so I got these picks, these Living Brain Dead, with the shield and the red and the cream, and they're mediums. Mm-hmm. They're like half the thickness I'm used to.
Yeah.
Because when I was playing on Falls Count Anywhere, Brian's like, use this pick, and like it gave me that extra like bit of speed to get through Heil this shit bag.
That's cool.
Which again, like we all kind of came to the conclusion, like, yeah, if we're gonna get rid of a song from the set, that's the one.
Yeah.
We're probably a ways away from that now. We were writing some new stuff and never got a chance to finish it, so we'll wait till later on to worry about that shit. But yeah, that's why I have 2 different size guitar picks now.
Yeah. Okay.
If I have to palm mute, I have putting your hand behind the object. Oh yeah, you're probably right.
Oh, that makes sense.
You're absolutely right. I was not thinking that. Usually it's enough to just like hold it up and us to duck out of the frame.
But we usually don't have things as small as guitar picks.
Not usually as small as guitar picks now. So yeah, but yeah, that's why I use 2 different size guitar picks. Is like I use the red ones when I have a song with a lot of palm muting.
Yeah.
And I use the black ones when we're just strumming.
Yeah.
So, you were asking me, oh, why are you throwing your picks? There's nobody here when we did the live stream. I'm just like, because I'm using different picks for each
makes
song.
Sense now.
Yeah, that's
it didn't make sense at the time.
That's been my whole, that's why I have 2 different. So if you see us at a show and you see I got the mic stand like pick holder, I've got one side red and one side black.
Yeah.
That's why I have 2 different color picks, is because I'm using 2 different sizes. So, and also I wanted to keep on brand with the album. Like, if you watch the live stream, the Watch Live Anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm playing a red guitar. Brian's playing a bass with a red pick guard, and John's got the red
head,
red drum head with the cream Living Brain Dead Shield logo.
Look at you guys.
I don't think it was intentional. I bought a red guitar because I was like, "Fuck, I want a red guitar. I need an Ermac in my collection. I already had Rain and Noobs I bought. Now I need an Ermac, so I got to get a red."
You're such a nerd.
And then I got the blue one, which is Sub-Zero, and I got to get that blocked still, so I can actually play it without having to tune it after every song. Which I was watching videos on how to do it. It's like, just stick a block in there. Like, really? I don't even have to do anything. Just stick a block in there so it doesn't move. Okay. I could probably do that. Yeah, but Brian was amazing at like bringing out just little subtle changes to the way I play to make everything easier for me to play. And I saw somebody the other day, I'm trying to think who it was. It was Ryan Craig from Tudor Lounge. Posted a bunch of like Living Brain Dead, Black Rock Raven, just Brian's picks, Lost Elysium.
Yeah, I saw that.
Posted a bunch of picks. And I told him the story about Brian coming in here, seeing the picks and going, oh, being all happy that he was on here. So I, so if you're wondering if your band's on here, here's the list. There's ThinkSo Brain, who don't exist anymore. There's XM Priory, the Living Brain Dead, Brian's Seventh Son Studios picks, his Black Rock Raven pick, Kennedy Carpool pick. They're not around anymore as a band as the Kennedy Carpool. The Long Cold Dark, there's 2 of those. There's a Smile Empty Soul pick from when I opened for them at Broadway Joe's.
Oh my goodness.
That's why I never got the virus, is because I played Broadway Joe's. I was immune. There's a guitar pick from Alice Cooper. There's a stem pick, a couple of clear picks.
Not Clear as in see-through. Clear as in Klear, the band.
And Diceros.
Yeah.
Do I have any audio or video of Brian playing bass or guitar solos? By himself, like just video of him? No. Him in bands, yeah, sure. I probably got plenty of that. He's been in my band for 2 years, and we film every fucking thing.
Yes, even practices.
Always practice. That was the thing I started with XM Priory.
Yeah.
Because what would happen was, because I was trying to learn all the songs, they were already, they already knew all the songs. Right. They've been playing them for years. So when they asked me to fill in, for me to learn, the easiest way was just to bring a bring a video camera and then just play along with the video.
Yeah.
Which is kind of still what we do today, because now we have the mixer at the practice spot.
Yes.
And we record everything into my laptop, and then I send everybody everything. And so that way we just, we just have it. I have, I have Brian playing Can't Stop by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, just the intro. He used to do it every fucking practice because it annoyed Kevin.
That sounds accurate.
He would do it we would just be sitting there and like, and then I would play shit, Most of those Think So Priory, the Think So Priory sessions are up on YouTube. I sent XM Priory a lost video of them last night, of them playing the song Lost. I didn't know this video existed. I was looking for the video of Brian with Lost Elysium, and I found me doing a bunch of different. It was basically the same Nick and Dan show intro, but the first one I found was the best one, and I sent it to them. Me sitting in the booth doing those.
Yeah.
Like, I was in the booth, I don't know, but I'm sitting in the booth like, here, watching the Nick and Dan show. And then I sent, I found also in that same folder, there was a bunch of, there was some videos of Jackknife Stiletto playing the same show.
Yeah.
Funniest memory of Brian, jeez.
They're all a little funny.
Yeah, I mean, Brian was just
such a goof.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like, seriously, the best friend that you could ask for.
I think my favorite is just, I had mentioned this on somebody's post. It might have been one of mine. I don't even know, but I mentioned it somewhere. We're doing a live stream. We're in front of you and Nikki.
Right.
And we're playing OK Boomer.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to the, little breakdown, we get to the part right after the solo, and Brian goes, "How's everyone doing tonight?" And just like, and you two like yell, so we had like a crowd, but it's like, who thinks to yell, "How's everyone doing tonight?" in
an empty room?
Basically an empty room. Yeah. I don't know. I liked that. I mean, Brian was always.
He was always good for a laugh.
Always joking around and just. Yeah. I mean, my favorite memory is just walking around Blink and him just telling everybody, "Oh, dude, yeah, this is my friend. He's 47." Funny story about that, and I've told this before, but I'll tell it again because I know we've got new people watching. We're at this show. Brian's telling everybody I'm 47, so I'm feeling old as fuck, right? And Brian goes, or we start talking to this kid that's standing next to us. Mm-hmm. His 18th birthday was the day before. And I pull out my phone and I figure out the first time I saw Blink 182. Mm-hmm. I look at this kid. I said, "Man, I saw Blink a week before you were born."
That's what happens when you're 47.
I guess. It just sucks that Brian's not going to be here when I'm 47.
Yeah.
Let me show you what folder is open here on my computer.
Okay.
All of these pictures.
Oh my gosh.
My cat Whisper passed away a month or so ago.
Yeah.
Brian came to pick me up from the vet when I brought him to get cremated.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was coming. I just got a call like, "Brian's on his way." Like,
he was always there.
Like, okay. But we used to take pictures of Whisper because Whisper was a fat orange cat.
Yeah.
We would take pictures of Whisper. And I got to wrap this up soon, but we're going to go slightly over, and that's okay. I would take pictures of Whisper, and I would put, like, thought bubbles.
Right.
Like Garfield.
Yeah.
Fuck Mondays, shit like that.
Yeah. Where's the lasagna?
And so that was, those were great in the folder. It just happens to be open on my computer.
Yeah.
Because it's the same folder that all the, thumbnails and shit for the show are.
Yeah.
And we got to get out of here in a minute. But, yeah, Brian was, Brian was the best person I knew. You know what I mean?
I completely agree.
And I don't mean offense to anybody watching right now, because everybody that's been interacting with us, they're great people.
Absolutely.
Love you all. But Brian was like the absolute, like, would do anything for me. And I would do anything for him, like Record Store Day a couple of weeks ago. I was hoping to go with Brian, but Brian couldn't go. He was in too much pain.
Right.
Looking forward to his surgery. So I was like, oh, okay, for next one, I'll get him. We'll go at like 4 a.m. And, and then he can help me, he could stop at Madison, at Madison's, pick her up on the way home.
Yeah.
Because I got to get her I don't have to get her that day. I'm getting her the next day. But Nick says, if I'm ever the best person please reconsider your life choices. So I was looking forward to hopefully going with Brian on the 17th for Drop 2. I don't even know what he wanted, honestly, for Drop 2. But for Drop 1, he posts, hey, is anybody going to Record Store Day? I can't go. I want to see if anybody could pick up these records. And I messaged him. I'm like, dude, I'm going. What do you need? Mm-hmm. Like, I was gonna offer anyway. What do you need? And he goes, I need the Alkaline Trio, and I need the Pepper, and I need the Thrice, and there was another one. I think it was the Who, because Brian fucking loved the Who.
Right.
And to a point where like the one of the couple of Who records I have was just like, hey Brian, if I wanted to get in the Who, what record would you recommend to start with?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you need this one. This is the one you need.
Yeah.
So I went to Record Store Day, and I found as much of what I could that he wanted as I could. The kid in front of me got a couple of them before I could. I got the last ones. And I wasn't, he offered to give me the Thrice one. I'm like, nah, dude, it's cool. You found it first. You got here first. That's cool. That's your record,
Right.
And Brian, didn't give a shit. Brian didn't mind. He was just happy to get the ones he got.
Right.
And I got home and I told him, hey, this is what I got. And he says, okay, cool. I said, I can bring it over to you. So yeah. Let's walk over to Brian's house and just, because my phone is now listening to me. I don't know why. Anyway. So I walk over to Brian's house, records in a Revolver Records bag, walk over to his house. We just hung out on his porch for a few minutes. He was feeling okay that day. He was feeling better after the surgery, and unfortunately just that blood clot got him. So, but yeah, Brian was one of the best people I have ever met in my entire life. One of the nicest people to me, and would just, literally our couch, he just gave to us 2 brand new air conditioners. Like, we didn't know they were brand new until we went to open them. Yeah. Brand new air conditioners they gave us. Lily just gave us steaks. Just a bunch of fucking Omaha steaks just came over, to pick up some cookies. Right before the show. And so I'm going to go over there tomorrow, help her close out some of his accounts and stuff, like his Fiverr account for voiceovers and shit. So, we'll miss him, man. Like, it's I didn't know if I was going to be able to talk about Brian for 2 hours, but
I know.
Here we are 2 hours later, and I'm still talking about Brian, and we should get out of here. We got one more song to go.
What song do we have?
Let me move my phone out of the way here. This is a fitting closing song. Kevin actually suggested it.
Okay.
And I actually suggested I might be able to learn how to play this and do it, play it with the Living Brain Dead in honor of Brian. Mm. This is from the Silence the Cynic album called Not Too Numb, one of Brian's many, many musical projects. This was his solo project, and this was his his EP of all original Silence the Cynic stuff that we've taken a couple of songs from and play in Living Brain Dead sets. Yeah. This was not one of them, but it might just become one. It's a beautiful song. It's called With Us on All WNY ThinkSoJoE Show. We'll see you next week. Rest in peace, Brian.
I know it's been hard, it's been tough on us all. You gotta keep getting up right after you fall. When a sad day turns into a week, when the sun
when you feel like you can't lose this crowd, it's never your chance to shine. Just remember this one thing that'll help you get through. You're not doing this alone, and we will help you through! I've been where you are, in the gutter, feeling alone. Just needing a helping hand, wishing for kindness shown.